Hi, and welcome back to the help videos for the Eureka Pants That Fit pattern from Fit for Art Patterns. I'm Ray Cumby. I'm one of the developers of the pattern, and I'm here today to show you how to take the darts that you've pinned into your mock-up and move them onto the flat pattern, and also how to take the waistline that you have marked on your mock-up and transfer it to the flat pattern. So we're going to start with the darts first, and I'm going to show you how to take the darts that have been pinned onto the mock-up and move them onto the flat pattern. Patty's pants have 2 darts in the back, and what we're going to do first is mark where the darts lay on the pants so we can remove the pins and then establish the dart and then put it on the flat pattern. So you have the pins on the outside, you've had the pants on, and you've pinned out these darts so that the pant will lay on the body from the widest place, the hip, on up into the waist area where the body gets smaller. And we're going to go to the back here, and we're going to just put a little dot at the dart point, the place where those pins end. And then we're going to put a couple of dots at each pin that we have so that we are marking the placement of those darts. Once you've done that, you can pull out the pins, the dart marked here. A dart is a wedge, as we said, that you're going to remove. You're going to sew out so that the pant lays smoothly from the widest part of the body into the smaller waist area of the body. So once we have these dots here, we're going to take our ruler and connect them and turn them into a dart. So you're going to line your ruler up with the bottom, with the dart point, and then just connect those dots up to the waist. And then you're going to do it on the other side. And there we have the dart drawn in. So we have to take this dart now and move it to the pattern, and you can do it one of 2 ways. You can take measurements off the grid that's on the pattern and plot the dart and then put it on the pattern, draw it freehand on the pattern, or you can lay the pattern onto the pants. I've laid Patty's pants down here flat with the darts open and drawn on. And then I'm going to lay her pattern over top of the pant. And you have all these terrific lines, since you've drawn all your lines on your mock-up to test the fit. And we're just going to line all those lines up, put a couple of pins here, and then we're going to transfer those darts onto the flat pattern. So I'm going to take the ruler, and you can either put some dots and then connect the dots, or you can just take your marking tool and mark that dart onto the paper pattern as you see it coming up through. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing on this smaller second dart, which actually runs pretty close to the dart guideline here. While Patty had the pants on, we marked her waistline. Remember, she had that elastic around her waist, and she put it where she thought she wanted the pant to fall. And so we made some marks along the top edge of that elastic so that we would know where she wanted her waistline to fall. So I'm also going to put those marks here while I have the pattern on the pant. And they were just little dots that ran across the pant. And now we're ready to actually mark that waistline. We're going to remove the paper pattern from the pant mock-up. I'm going to take a couple of different pencils, because when you're making the waistline, you have 2 lines that you're going to draw. One will be your seam line, where you'll actually sew the top of the pant if you're putting a waistband or facing on, you'll apply it at the seam line. And then 5/8 inch above that seam line is the cutting line. So first we're going to draw in the seam line, because that's what the elastic marked, the place where you want the pant top to end. And then we'll add the cutting line. In order to get a line that trues with the darts, you have to pin the dart out while you're doing this process. So you're going to go in and you're going to fold out the dart. It makes the pattern a little bumpy, but it is part of the process. And put a little pin in at the top just so you know they're not going to be shifting around while you're working. And then you're going to, if you have a fashion ruler, French curve, you're going to use that to draw the line, connect the dots. If not, you can take your ruler and sort of move it around and connect the dots. Or if you have one of those flexible rulers, they'll work also. You're going to find the place on the fashion ruler that lines up with connecting the dots. And just draw that line on. And then you're going to find, it's not a straight line. I don't think on any woman there's a straight line across the top of your waistband. Pants definitely have a curve to them at the top. Okay, so we've drawn on that seam line. I'm going to go up 5/8 of an inch and measure that from each of these little lines, little dots. And then we're going to connect those dots. Our seam line is in orange, our cutting line is going to be in green. Okay. So once you have that cutting line on there, everything that's above it is really not necessary. So we're going to trim that off. And that's going to give you the top of your personal Eureka Pants That Fit pattern. And there you go. Now we're going to mark the waistline onto the front of the pattern. Patty didn't have any darts on the front of her pattern, so we just have to mark the seam line and then the cutting line and trim away on the front. And the way we're going to do that is actually measure down on the pattern, and we see here that at the center we're down about 2.5 inches. So we're going to come down here and mark that 2.5 inch point at the center. And we have a mark here right about the grain line, so we're going to measure there, and it is at, I'd say 2 3/8. So we're going to come here and mark that 2 3/8 mark. And then we're going to come here right about the dart placement line, and it's 1 3/4. So we're going to mark that here, 1 3/4. And then at the hip, we're down about 1.5. So we're going to connect those dots, and that will be the front seam line for Patty's pants. And as I said, it's not a straight line for the most part. Most women's bodies do tilt a little bit towards the front and then go up a little bit in the back to accommodate the way your body changes. It's just a little tricky. Then we're going to go up 5/8 of an inch from that and mark where our cutting line is. And then, as we did with the back, we'll draw that line in and trim it away. We don't need to worry about truing the darts because we don't have any darts in the front. Thanks for watching our video. our effort to help you get the darts and the seams correct on your Eureka pants that fit. We encourage you to visit the Fit for Art Patterns website, sign up for our e-newsletter, and see all the other things we have happening in the Fit for Art world.